I built this Atlantis lighthouse a while back, but never got the batteries for it. It uses a pair of CR2032 lithium batteries. And now it's finally, after all this time, it's finally finished. Oops, wait, needs one more thing. Okay, now it's finished. Well, hello, Glue Troopers. Max of Max's Models here. As you can tell, it's gotten dark outside already. I have to go back in soon before the monsters come out. I got an email today that reminded me that I forgot to thank the Glue Trooper who sent me this Atlantis Japanese medium tank, the Type 97 Chiha. And unfortunately, I've lost track of who sent me what because I used to try and keep a big flow chart of all that, but it just got out of hand because you guys are so generous. I couldn't keep up with your generosity. I want to thank you very much, and I really enjoy having it over there on the shelf. Now I just need to, I have a British tank kit, the Honey, what the Americans call a Stuart from Tamiya. I need to build that one, and then I'll have all the major powers: Russian, American, British, Japanese, and German. So a couple of packages showed up today, so let's do a little unboxing here. Okay. This one is from Mr. Pugnetti. I hope I'm saying that right, Pugnetti. And thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Let's see what's in here. This, speaking of the monsters, it's the MPC Godzilla Jeep. This has the paper, Godzilla paper towers. I actually have the kit built on the shelf, on my Godzilla shelf, on my desk, but I've long since lost the towers and stuff. I don't know where they went. And they're actually kind of cool because they're different sizes and the little force perspective. Comes with a paper Godzilla, so I'm going to do something with that. It's the Astro Monster, and of course this is just the MPC recoilless, I believe, 106 millimeter recoilless rifle, but it had appeared briefly on camera in the Godzilla versus Astro Monster movie, which of course we call King Ghidorah or Ghidorah. There seems to be a debate on which one is correct. So thank you for that. I'm going to put that over there with my Godzilla. And by the way, we've been complaining lately about some of the NPC kits the plaster made of. I do know I built this. This is a really good kit, and it comes with the option to make it regular American military or to put it in the Godzilla Defense Force or Earth Defense Force decals. So, all right. Thank you, Mr. Pugnetti. I appreciate that. And let's see what we got next here. Okay. I left my box opener in the office, so I'm here in Tarbes, so I have all kinds of sharp implements. I don't really want to dull the X-Acto knife on it. What the heck? That's why I buy the blades by the gross. This is from, okay, it's from Virginia. The name inside is nothing on the box. I believe I know who this is from. This is what I'm thinking. It's the Lancaster bomber to go with my nephew's airfield supply set. And some Glue Troopers don't want to put their names up. Yep, okay. See it at New River Valley, Blacksburg, Christiansburg. I've heard that's a really beautiful area. Appears to be some sort of brochure or pamphlet. And sure enough, here it is. The Airfix 1/72 scale Avro Lancaster B2. And everything is still bagged in the plastic. And that is going to be a nice size model when we're done with it. I'm actually going to put this right over here on the table for Adam. And I got an email recently. Now, you'll notice this Lancaster Beat, this is one with the radial engines, not the Merlins, which is exactly what you see on the cover of that Airfix aircraft support system, RAF support equipment box art. Now, a lot of people forget the Lancaster, some versions, they just couldn't make enough Merlins, so some of them did actually have radial engines. And I'm not really sure what the performance difference was, but cool airplane. And I remember getting the email from the gentleman who was sending me this, and I need to email him back, and then I can remember his name and put it up here because it's not on the box, and I don't see anything inside with his name on it. But thank you very much. Let's see. Well, I guess that's pretty much everything for this evening. I got a little bit of work done. You ever notice that I say it's everything for this evening? That's what triggers the thing I forgot. It's like my memory jogger. I didn't get much out here get done because, like I said, we had stuff going on today. But I did get started painting the characters, the two characters for the Western build for the stagecoach, and that was really all I got done. One thing I did do was I had a piece of mold sculpt that had hardened. I think it looks kind of like a rock. That might make it interesting, just a piece. So I painted it up to look like a rock so I could just put it on diorama. And I said, it doesn't look quite right. So I flocked some grass on it, and it actually came out looking pretty good. So I'm going to trim that out, and I figure then I can just drop that anywhere if I just want to add some character for like a photo or something. A little pre-made terrain there. But like I say, did not get a lot. I only had about an hour out here today. It took that long just to get those characters started on the painting. They were already primed, and that was really all I got done. So, but I don't think I have anything going on until tomorrow afternoon. And there is one other thing. This is kind of a long shot, but I've been watching some videos that were posted about 5 years ago, and I'll put the link below, by the gentleman who actually restored the original studio prop of the Jupiter 2. And I actually apparently he was a career mold maker for models and stuff like that. So I found he has a website, and I found an old AOL address, so I emailed him, and we'll see if he contacts me back. But I thought it'd be great to have him on a live stream or a Zoom interview, because he could talk both about, he did a beautiful video on restoring the Jupiter 2, which had been horribly abused and used for other things, because, Irwin Allen was always repurposing props. I mean, he's a mood producer. To him, it was just a piece of industrial equipment to be reused. To us, a lot of us, it's a piece of culture. It's a cultural icon, but that wasn't really the case in the 70s. Anyway, point I'm getting at is I'll link some of his videos below. If I hear from him, maybe we can get him and ask him questions about making molds as well as restoring the Gemini 12/Jupiter 2. He's the one that actually went out and redid out at that famous place in California where they filmed the famous entry scene of its crash, going through the mountains, the Lydecker. And he had to try a couple of times to get it done. They had to make separate trips about a month apart. It's a pretty interesting story. I think you guys will enjoy it. They definitely faced a lot of literal uphill battles. So we'll see if he gets back with me. And he restored it for the gentleman who currently owns it. And I think he still owns it. Google AI says he does, but don't get me started on that. If anybody has an email address for the other gentleman I talked about, Simon Papa Smurf Merckx, if you could send it to me, because I'd like to just reach out and touch base with him. Hey guys, here's the extra little tidbit I promised you. I did hear back from Mr. Paul Lubliner, who was the gentleman who restored the original movie TV studio prop Jupiter 2. And he is considering perhaps either doing a Zoom video or coming on a live stream after the holidays, so sometime next year. That's great news. I hope we can get him on. So I will keep you posted. Take care of yourselves, and as always, model on. I didn't even touch the tar hay today. It just sits there looking at me, feeling all ignored. Godzilla really does make everything better. Wait a minute, it needs one more thing. It's not quite done.